One, this is Auto Ream Magazine in the his house. All right, I got my wife in the back. I got my boy Kenya in the middle. Make some noise, Kenya. Chris,
Yo,
make some noise.
Yo, what's up? What's up?
Okay. Hold for 1 second. I got a little feedback loop. I gotta get rid of. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about for a second. We're gonna talk about Ford, and we're gonna talk about their visit to China. Apparently, this is their first time doing this. Well, no, not first time, but let's be real. They had an epiphany, and Kenya, you the one who pushed this article on us about a week ago. And so, Kenya,
yeah,
first off,
man.
I want you to give us a rundown on this article from Car Scoops.
Well, apparently, my man Jim Farley went out to China and he test drove a vehicle that was made by Chang and Automotive,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, man, he was shooken, and so he was like, man, it's nothing like before. That's what he's saying. So he's saying pretty much that in terms of electric vehicles, they're they're ahead of us technologically. They're ahead of us, and so
And design wise.
he's like we got to become like them. And they ain't gonna lie, they design wise they are like, well, I still do kind of feel like a lot of them kind of just copy and pasted Tesla's philosophy. I do feel like a lot of cars kind of look like a different interpretation, I'll say, of a Tesla Model Y or Model 3.
Uh-huh.
Like a BYD Seal, the Neo EP7 or ET5 or whatever it's called. A lot of those cars look similar, and then on the inside it's the same thing. Like just stick an iPad on the dash and call it, forget about it.
Yeah.
And they all got that from Tesla. All that stuff started with them. That whole design philosophy started with Tesla, and now I
Nah,
think
but
I
go ahead.
guess, man, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I guess that communist stuff works, man. And that cheap labor, you know, we ain't got.
They
I guess
adopted
it
real quick.
works. I guess it worked. I mean, China's always been good with electronics. I give them that. But I like to know where they were at when V8s and V10s and V12s were popular. Where were their cars at then?
Yeah,
Huh?
that's true.
Huh?
That's
but
true.
but that was never their MO. But all right, that rundown, and one of the things is that so Jim, the boss, shaking up by going to, i.e., China, experiencing what they had to offer. Okay, so Chris, can you give me your initial thoughts on this process of Ford going into China,
Yeah.
being shaken up?
Did I mention they doing it for cheaper? I just want to throw that in there. And they
We're
doing
gonna
it for
address.
cheap.
We're gonna address that. We're gonna
Yeah,
address that.
I got some.
Well,
So,
that's exactly what I was about to lead into is that that's a big reason of why they're there. Not only because the vehicles are better, design wise, technologically, everything, but because it's cheaper. And every company is always going to look to save a dollar somewhere. And if they can save a dollar and still get the same output, or at least a similar output, and get somewhat of a good looking car for cheap, they won't even hesitate. Let's not forget, America used to always build cars. Way back in the day, of course. They all used to do things in house. But ever since they found a way to do it cheaper overseas, they've sourced it out there. Always.
mm,
Because they're always looking to save a dollar. So I don't blame him for making the decision that they made. I mean, it's as clear as day that they're not going to be the first ones to do this, in my opinion. I think there are going to be more
mm,
companies that are go over there and also do the same thing that Ford's doing. So it's not surprising at all. And it's not like he's making that bad of a decision, but I'm always going to be in favor of doing things in-house, build them in the country, not just
Mm-hmm.
because, just say we build cars here, but it's to offer job opportunities and things of that nature. It's always better to do it back here in the States. But again, they're not going to care what I think. They're going to do what they got to do to save some money. And they can go over there and exploit the labor laws and everything over there in China. They will do it with zero hesitation. Zero.
Okay, now we're going to have to lean into this because y'all done bust this wide open. So we're going to have to pause for 1 second because you said something, and now we're going to have to take a slightly deep dive. And so, just on the record, neither one of us know the labor and what's going on in China. Just so we should know, just for the record, right?
We can assume the only way they can do that stuff.
We got an idea.
Look, man, dude, man, we have to have an idea, man, because I'm thinking to myself, like, let's take a look at this Denza Z9, right?
Okay, let's do it.
Let's take a look at that Denza Z9.
Okay, Kenyon, got multi-stream. I forgot, Kenyon got the new computer. Woo!
Yeah.
Take a look at this.
Okay.
You see this?
I see it. I see it.
You see the price tag? Now, don't get me wrong. They're not going to sell this. If it was to come to America, they're not going to sell it at $47,500 or $58,000. I don't think. But that would be crazy. I mean, and even tariffs in European is doing what? 20%, 30% tariffs on Chinese imported EVs.
Yeah.
And they still whooping their butts.
But here's one thing though. Doesn't that car look like a Honda Civic?
No. I think you're thinking about
in the front.
Oh, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about?
That.
Come on, man.
But you see the take a look at the performance though. That's what I want.
No, Chris driving. He can't take his eyes out the road. But no.
Horsepower. And I looked at a video review of it. And it actually, in one of the handling dynamics tests, it actually outdid the Taycan.
That's crazy.
And I was looking at Will's boy. You know, Will's boy lives in China.
Yeah.
And he gets the opportunity to test drive cars that are made in China. So he test drove the Z9, the Denza Z9, and he was talking about how great it was and whatnot, and how well it handled the type of stuff the car can actually do with its rear axle steering and how it can actually park. You know, how it can maneuver in the parking spots. It can do some stuff. So, and it's all for like less than, you know, like exotic car brands that are making EVs like the German brands. So now the theory, of course, is this cheap labor. And I'm not talking about just cheap labor. I'm talking about cheap hard labor.
Yeah,
I guess it worked. That chick got, like I said, I guess that communist stuff works. I mean, that's the only way. That's the only way you can get away with that.
Interject this. Maybe let's I'm gonna go a more optimistic route and be more optimistic about the situation, right? Maybe they pay their employees well. They're just not as greedy about the profits. Maybe they no. Let's just say
not China, man.
Oh, come on. Let's give them an opportunity to fend for themselves.
That's a good way. The benefit of the doubt. I mean, I ain't nothing wrong with that, but man.
But this is China we're talking about. This ain't no European country or anything like that. This is China. And
I bet you go to one of their factories, their faces are going to have all kind of lines in their faces because they frowning so much.
And not only that, look at the market outside of cars. Look at the websites like Wish, Temu, AliExpress, these places where they're selling like items that would be sold here at a Best Buy or an electronics store. They're selling them there for $4. $4. And you telling me that they're not exploiting labor laws? Please. They make a cool looking car.
I'm trying
I
to
don't know if
hope
somebody
for the
that believes
best.
in them has a copy, but I don't know, man. Hoping for the best with China. I wouldn't put your stock there.
Yeah, Chris, say that one more time. We lost you. Chris, can yeah,
Uh,
we lost you for
yeah,
a
I can
second.
hear you
Can
guys
you
now.
repeat?
Yeah,
Repeat?
sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No problem.
Yeah, no, I was just all I'm saying was that I'm not putting my stock in China, man. On not exploiting labor
Come
laws. They
on,
ain't having
man.
it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Won't do it. Matter of fact, they were just going under scrutiny for that. For their labor law. So I don't know.
Yeah. So, listen, guys. I'm trying to interject some
I know
some
you got.
hope into the
I know.
situation.
I
Come
guess it's good
on.
to give them the benefit of the doubt, man. You know, I get it. I get it. But
Maybe they learn
they
from their last choices and their last lifestyle. You feel me?
Oh
Let's
please.
give them a
they
benefit of the
they
doubt.
want they want
Oh,
to take over.
oh please.
You know, they want to take over everything.
China has
You
developed
know,
Man,
they
that would
want to
plans.
be
take over.
China has developed plans of action to try and destabilize the U.S. economy. These guys ain't not there. Listen, that stuff ain't happening. No,
mm,
I can't
well.
buy it.
China is. I'll tell you this. Across the globe, China's not a popular country right now. Everybody wants to tariff them. You know, whether or not it's because of, um, they feel like it's security reasons or whatever else. You know, they they everybody is putting tariffs on them. Europe,
Uh
the
huh.
United States is putting 100% tariffs on any Chinese imported vehicle. 100%.
Dang, I hate
Yep.
Not
that.
not 30 like over there in European Union, but 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And
And they
so
can
Right.
still sell that Venza
they can
V9 for what 50,000. I mean not 50,000, but 90,000, and still make a profit.
Yep.
yeah, to make sure they pay the workers pennies, man.
Okay, 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 okay,
It's
okay,
what it is. I mean,
okay,
who can
okay.
stop
We
them? Who
we
can tell? Who gonna tell them no? You can't do that.
okay. This podcast took
Nobody.
this podcast took the wrong turn, right? I'll
Nah,
go in this
it took the
story.
honest turn. It took the
Now,
honest turn. That's what kind of
now,
took.
now the question do you believe in the integrity of these vehicles? When you sit inside them,
True.
does it feel like it's gonna fall apart? Because we know Ford, you know, they for a while didn't care about quality. They cared
Oh, you mean?
about
Oh no, King. I think you meant America. I think that's
oh
what you
well.
meant.
Well, I know. I mentioned Ford. I'm sorry. I picked on Ford. You know, I just picked one. You know what I'm saying?
Should we talk
I,
about Chrysler too?
we can talk about Chrysler. We can talk
Woo!
about Chevy. We can talk about
Oh yeah, Chevy. Oh yeah.
Automobile. You know, all them. So, yeah, them cars. You know, your door might come off, or you know, your door
Oh,
handle
what,
might
what
come
about
out.
what
You
about
gotta open it
what
up.
about them Saturns, kid? Those
Them
Saturns.
these Saturns are my
The
favorite.
car made
Oh man,
made out of,
my
made out of
favorite.
Legos, man.
Them things was made of connects.
Oh, that's cool.
I, I don't mean to go off tangent, but that's just an example. You know, are they actually vehicles that are of good integrity? You know, because those workers, you know, they didn't care. You know, they were out as long as they could, get their pot and smoke it and whatever else
Hmm.
they wanted to do
Get their
while they
cake
were
and
on
eat
the
it too.
factory floor car, you know, and they get paid their pennies, and the CEOs and the upper management get paid, you know, millions, you know,
Multi-millions.
multi-millions.
And
And
that's just
so,
recorded on salary, by the way.
hmm
That's just recorded on salary. What do they
And
get on
that's
the back end? Well, they're not going to tell us that.
yeah.
so that's the question. What is the long-term reliability of these vehicles? Now, they are electric, but what about the hybrids? Are the
Yeah, this is
hybrids
a
reliable?
hybrid. The D9 is a hybrid.
Yeah, so you can get a hybrid. Now, what engine is inside that hybrid?
Can you scroll for
That's a
me?
good point, though. That's a good point because I'm curious about that too because is China manufacturing
Gasoline engines.
what
Because
major manufacturer comes out of China? That's
well,
Um.
really,
well, BYD is major. GAC Motors is major.
Okay, stop
but
for a
they're
second.
only sold there, right?
GAC is sold, might be sold in other markets, but
Yeah.
I know BYD is moving across the globe. They're trying
Yeah,
to. They're over there in Europe now.
and in
Right, yeah.
Mexico, and
GAC
Mexico.
tried to come here in the States. They actually had their cars on display in California when we went to the California Auto Show years ago.
Uh-huh.
They had some GAC models on display.
Mm.
So,
Wow.
but
So they got a two
they never
liter
made it over here.
turbocharged.
Oh, Jesus.
A 2 liter turbocharged. It's a range extender though. So it's a PHEV. So it's a range extender hybrid. And
Okay.
yeah, for uh 47,000, almost what, $48,000. This thing
Hmm.
is a beauty. This thing is one of a kind. And so this would be one of the vehicles that I would actually buy.
Oh, is that right?
Really?
Yep,
Is
that
that so?
yep, that and the BYD Leopard was the one that you and Chris hate so much. Yeah. So here's the question that I wanted to pose before we kind of went out on the deep end. And I hope we are redeemable at this point. But here's the
Well,
question.
I don't care if I'm redeemable in China's eyes.
Oh my God! Hey,
Not my problem.
China, Chris didn't mean any of that. He's joking. That's how we joke in
Yeah,
America.
they might come get me in my sleep tonight.
Oh my God, we be at the race like what Chris said.
Yeah. Well, he
but
disappeared.
but yeah. So here's the thing. I want to ask you a question, Chris. Right
Yeah.
now, be honest. Now, don't be biased. Be honest, okay? Don't be biased, because I know you. You kind of took a couple of hit towards of the vehicles I like in China, but be honest. Okay, okay. What's that EV that Chris liked from
Well,
China?
I'll tell you this.
Oh,
Let's look at it
you
another
talking
way.
about the Hi-Fi Z?
High
Yeah,
Five Z.
Hi-Fi did file for bankruptcy recently.
Yes, they
But
did.
it's an EV. Nobody
But
cares about
bankruptcy
EV.
does not always mean that they're going out of business. Sometimes it's a corporate decision to kind of save money. So if they're going bankrupt, they'll be back. Like they're not going anywhere. But I do believe that car was very high priced.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was 110,000 American
yeah,
dollars,
yeah.
even in
Listen,
China.
not even listen. The people who buy exotic EVs or EVs that are 100, 120 plus, they just have money to throw around because not in
That's
your right
true.
mind would you pay that much for a car. Because keep in mind, list me what exotic EV is on a Tesla charging platform. Like
Exotic.
yeah, like what like the ones that cost 100,000 plus. Which one of those are on a Tesla charging platform? Lucid's not. I can give you one right there. My reason what I'm trying to get at is that why would I pay that much for a car and I can't even charge it at places that don't even have a huge charge network? They don't even have the infrastructure. Like it just doesn't make much sense. Why do you think
Well, they
Lucid
got
like
the
we
huge
spoke about that. They
chargers for
need to go to
Electrify America or EV
but
Go.
that's all you got, and those are going away because Tesla's taking it up. Tesla's monopolized the infrastructure. That's really
True.
what they've done. So
Yeah,
every
pretty
EV
much.
has to go to them. And like we spoke about this before. Lucid needs to go to Tesla's charging platform. If they don't, they will not survive. Because the Saudis are the only thing keeping them alive right now. And I hate to say it, because that's what Elon said, but it's true. They're the
Yeah,
only thing keeping them afloat right now, because
that's true.
what they're making, what their plan is to not switch over is gonna kill them in the long run. It's over, man. It's hard to stop a monopoly like that, unless you
Okay,
get law involved, but it ain't happening.
Chris, I want to lead in with you. Now, please be nice and be kind to our counterparts over there in China. Okay, because this is the original question I wanted to ask both of y'all before y'all went down this dark path. um, Here's the original question: do you believe, Chris, that there is a reasonable fear from American automakers if China was to enter into U.S. market with
Boy,
a 10% tariff? I'm just gonna
ten
put
percent.
it. Yeah, 10%. Chris,
So I mean, yes, of course, because it's for those. It's gonna target those people that want to change over to an EV, or that, which is, keep in mind, that's also a low amount. But with that price that those cars would come in at, they listen. If China, just think for a second. Say if you're China, you want to go to the U.S. market. Are you going to enter the U.S. market charging the same price that they would charge, that they're charging over here for regular EVs? No, you're going to reduce to
mm,
get people to buy. That at that point, that's how you would take the buyers. That's how you would have a big stake and induce fear in the economy. You get them at a lower price because they can afford to, by the way, because they're doing it cheap. I don't want to go into labor again, but they're doing it cheap.
okay,
So
okay,
they
okay.
can go over here and do that. Now America can't do that. The America can offer all this tax credit you can get on these Teslas or Polestars, whatever, but that's not going to make a difference if a company like China gets in and they can sell their cars for 10 to 15, even $20,000 less than what you would pay market price for, say, a Model Y or a Model X Tesla. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen.
Okay, okay, okay. That's
Yeah,
thank you.
it's
Okay, Kenyon, I'm gonna
I
rephrase. Let me rephrase the question to you. But again, we want honesty, no biasness. Okay, so I'm proud of Chris for being somewhat
Gotta be
unbiased.
honest, man. Gotta be honest.
All right. Okay. Would America automakers be afraid if China entered into the market with a 10% tariff? Right? We just doing a low ball, hypothetical. Would they be afraid, Kenya?
they should be.
Why?
Um, because well, I'll tell you this. The thing that would only thing that the American automakers would be able to hope for is that the American people, consumers, we're going to be saying, we don't want no Chinese made garbage
Yeah.
coming in here. That would be the only thing that they could hope that would happen in order to
But
stop them from taking over. Because
here, but gosh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
when you look at a car like a Z9, a Denza Z9, or a Hi-Fi Z, or a Neo ET7, when you look at
Hmm.
vehicles like that, you know, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying that every single one of them is better automatically than a Lucid or Cadillac Lyric. I'm not saying that because I think the Lyric is beautiful. And I think that, if Cadillac builds electric vehicles like that, they can be competitive with any electric car maker in the globe. Um,
Hmm.
but the thing is that if they bring it over here like a Denza Z9 or a BYD Seal or Neo ET7 or a Hi-Fi Z over here, and people look at that and they say, "Wow, I've never seen a car look like that. Look at all
Exactly.
these cool little neat features it has. It
But
talks
hold
to
on.
you. It can
Right, but
park,
right.
in any position. You can voice command it to park. You can you can voice command it to go pick up your groceries and stay at the house. And it costs $50,000, and the Lucid Air costs $170,000 for the same stuff.
Right, but
And people
that's a good
eventually
good
people are going to
point
be.
though.
They might ask. The most they might be able to do is ask the question. The thing that a company like, say for instance, Cadillac will have to hope for is that, oh, they're not gonna fall for the okie doke, because look what the price they're selling it at. They not gonna trust the integrity of no Chinese cheap made labor, abused people, slave labor made Chinese crap.
But
That's the only thing they can hope for that would happen. I wonder if it's a matter of that wear out.
But Kent, how old is the CEO of Cadillac? He's an old guy though. He's an older gentleman.
You talking about Steve Carlisle?
Right, older gentleman, right?
Royce.
Any of them.
They're both in their late 50s.
They're 50 plus, right?
Yeah.
That's the mind of them. There's a new generation coming along.
And they don't care.
And they don't give a damn about none of that crap. Because guess what? How many people are buying from websites like Temu? How many people are buying from websites like Wish, like AliExpress, like Alibaba? They don't give a damn about what China has done or what China does, because what they're going to say is, well, I get the same thing paying 30, and if I did, and I'm not paying 150, and I'm getting the same exact product, I'm gonna go with China, and that's what's gonna happen. These old guys, whatever. Listen, I understand they want. We understand how their biases are formed from China, what their experience has been, but that ain't the generation no more. This new generation is always going to go for the cool technology, the screens, what this can do, this, it can do that, and I get to pay less. What? Please. And that's just a start. Eventually, that's going to swing over to those that are even slightly older than them. If you're 50 plus, you may not bite. 50 down, 40 down, you will bite. Because it's going to save you money and you're getting a cool product. And China knows that. They're not idiots. They know exactly how to, but that's why they're giving them that high tariff. Because they know if China comes in this market, the market is going to swing the complete opposite direction, because they're going to have so many options that's going to force the American car makers to drop their price. But does America want to do that? No, they don't want to do that. Why? Because America's always looking to save $1 somewhere, but always capitalize on its people. China,
that's the problem with General Motors right now.
Right now, it's exactly what's going on.
You can't get certain things.
I want to have a quiet in the background when Chris was talking. I was like, yeah, hallelujah.
This is the reckoning. That's what this is. That's the reckoning.
And this the reality. Let me sum up everything from my perspective. For one, let's be 100. I'll be 100. I was not expecting us to go down the route that we came down initially, but I don't know if I'm happy or scared, but hey, I'm both of them, so I'm happy, right? So, but the reality of it is, I'm still going to lean towards the optimistic side, because I don't know, I'm ignorant towards their lifestyle over there in China, so I'm going to rely on my ignorance.
Donald always playing the nice guy. The same thing. It's the same idea with that Cybertruck. He was all about that Cybertruck too.
Man, I love the Cybertruck.
Oh man.
Okay. Anyway. Okay. Long story short,
Donald will be that. He's gonna be that buyer. Donald's gonna be that buyer. That's gonna buy them Chinese cars.
Me?
I can see myself.
You ain't lying. It's me. Yep. I'm gonna be that guy. It's gonna be me. Woo! But yeah. So to sum my thoughts up about this whole ordeal. I'm not. I said some things before we entered this podcast that I'm not going to say now, but I'm going to kind of paraphrase it in another type of way. Essentially, Ford and the executive now went into a territory where on the onset of things, they actually genuinely care about their product and they're not trying to raise the price and kill the end user, right? Unlike Ford, these same cars will be worth 80, 70, $90,000 in America and made in America, right? And the prices of cars has drastically gone up out of nowhere. Like, I mean, everything is so expensive, but the pay hasn't been risen at all. So I'm like, I could understand if I raised the price of this cup up to um $5, this one cup, but it trickled down to all the investors in the company and also um the employees. I can understand that, right? Okay, now that makes sense. It's sensible, right? The supply chain is being met, the employees, their pay is being raised. But what's happening is this cup is being increased and only the investors are seeing the dividends and the employees are not seeing any growth in their pay. So, and this across the whole board. So, that being said, I would have to say if China was to enter into the market, yeah, Ford has absolutely everybody: Ford, Chrysler, Fiat, GM,
Everybody. And it's
Tesla,
and that's not
everybody.
just gonna it's going to affect everybody even outside the US, because how many of those cars are being sold? Anyone that's in this market in this country is gonna have to change their plan of action to deal with that. If
Exactly.
China comes in and drops that price, because they're gonna determine the market, and they're gonna eat up the buyers that don't want to pay that crazy price for a
Exactly.
car, and they can pay the
Yeah.
same thing for less and still and
People,
I
people,
theoretically get better.
a cheap EV is desirable. Like, look at what's happening in Poland. Like, they have crazy incentives over there. So getting an EV is just as cheap as getting a gasoline car, or cheaper than getting a gasoline
Hmm.
car. And so people drive them, and they're like, "I'll never go back to a gasoline car." So people want a dirt cheap EV. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Or
I don't blame them,
hybrid.
because I don't blame them. You're telling me I can get from point A to point B. I don't got to spend that $50,000. Okay, and I
yeah.
still
Yeah.
get some cool technology.
And
Okay,
you get what? And how much range do they get? Now the way they're not
more
testing
than
the
what they're
range.
putting out here.
Yeah, EPA, like,
We're
and the
dealing with a
Hi-Fi Z,
country.
the Hi-Fi
We're,
Z did the best in cold weather conditions out of all
yeah,
the other EV brands that they were comparing it to. Tesla, General Motors stuff, um, some of the stuff in, from Mercedes or whoever. They had the best cold weather performance out of
hmm
all of them.
yeah.
Now Hi-Fi might have filed for bankruptcy. I get it, and there's many others in China. That's the
But
only counter argument that can be made
can
is
can I
that
can I point that out
it,
real quick? Hi-Fi Z filed for bankruptcy in a market that's selling cars for $80,000 less. No one's buying it because they got so much more. They've got so much more out there that's for less. Why would I go buy that car when I could buy this same car with the same technology for less? Sure,
I
it looks
mean, it,
cooler.
I mean,
There's definitely more
I would,
factors that go into that, but Hi-Fi, you can look at it from the outside looking in. They were selling a car that was $100,000+, and it was an EV. Very nice, very smooth car. Did great on, as you said, in cold weather conditions. All the tests that it did, it excelled. But it's too expensive in a market where everything else is significantly less. The people define the market, not the automakers. The people define the market. It's how it's always worked, from cars to clothes to food to even people to the dating market. The buyer defines the market. That's how it
yeah,
always works.
yeah,
So
that's true.
you can't put nothing out there that
But
that people are not gonna want if that's not what they're asking for.
but is the Hi-Fi Z more expensive than every other Chinese made or Chinese car EV company? Is it
It's
just the most expensive? Because
it was probably bonus. I'm looking at their whole catalog of all the different cars that are in that price range, but I know it's one of them. Because if you look at what they were making before, what China's been making, it's significantly less than that. Significantly less.
What is this? Mike, it
so
keep dropping out of nowhere.
so
But yeah, Yeah.
Well, touche.
Alright,
I
guys.
see the
I
only. I just want to say one last thing though. That would be the only argument, that could be, you know, could back up Donald's claim or his being a nice guy or him uh uh trying to give the benefit of the doubt to the Chinese culture or there.
Hmm.
Uh,
why is my mic?
so I that would be the only thing that could back that up is that you still, even with that, got them going out of business, or not going out of business, but filing for bankruptcy. And there's like 300 or so like startup EV brands over there. And as you can see in this article here, China has spent 230 billion to build its EV industry.
It's a lot of
Um,
dough.
and and so
Yeah, man. We gotta wake up a little bit there. And
yeah,
let's not keep in mind, they're also
Yeah,
leading in the battery industry
my
too.
sound ain't up, so I
I
don't
can
know
hear you
what's
just
going on.
fine.
I'm gonna have to do it. We're gonna close out in a second. So I'm gonna leave studio. I'm gonna come back in and we're gonna close out. All right.
Okay, I
All
can
right.
hear you just fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. I'm gonna close out.
Okay.
Okay, still have
All
an
right.
issue. I guess you can't hear it. But yeah, that's something too. Keep in mind, China's also leading in the battery world too, as we know, Ken.
Yeah,
They're also
yeah.
leading in battery
China's
technology.
always been good with electronics.
Yeah.
They always been, you know, your Nintendo, your PlayStation, your Xbox, all
Hmm.
that stuff got Chinese made stuff, made in China in it, all in it. They
All your plastics,
yeah,
glassware,
that
all
clothes
made in
too.
China, man.
So they're really good at electronics. We already know that.
Hmm.
That's their thing because they weren't nowhere to be found when you know before Tesla showed up, and they pretty much copied them. That's what they did.
Yeah,
They
yeah. But
they
a
weren't
lot
nowhere
of
to be
them did a
found.
better job though.
Yeah,
Um,
they did a better job at doing the same thing, but
yeah, they put buttons. A lot of them Chinese got buttons. They got for heating and hair. So China, I feel like China has adapted and they have understand. Okay, we cannot live off of EV alone. We need hybrid. And so, yeah. That being said, we are at the top of the hour. Um, it's our time to bail out. I'm gonna have to cut and screw chop some videos. My sound went out, so I'm not gonna even trip on that. But yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to everybody. Thank you for everything you guys have done. Again, we thank Miss Thomas for all her blessings
yes,
that she has blessed us, and we thank also
Yep.
Chris for doing the hard work to get us to this point. Um,
Oh yeah.
we will be
yes.
seeing you guys at
At Petite Le Mans Road Atlanta, Braxton, Georgia, the final round of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. I am so excited to be there. We got to do a recording on the season, man, and and make our predictions about, you know, the outcome of the final round of this championship series this year. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. I can make mine right now. Cadillac is gonna take it.
Yeah. Well, you lost
now,
your bet.
now, now, I don't know if Cadillac is in the running for winning the championship anymore because they had too many mishaps.
Well,
But
yeah, yeah. But they'll win this race. I think they're gonna win this race.
they'll win the race, but the championship, I don't think they're uh, in the running for winning the championship. They had a
No.
reliable car, a very fast car, but they had too many errors, penalties, crashes, especially crashes. They had a lot of crashes.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Unnecessary crashes at the
yeah,
beginning of the year.
they
Very
did.
unnecessary crashes.
With a one Sebring had Felipe Durrani not crashed out.
But
Um,
yeah.
All right,
but
guys.
we'll talk about that
Okay.
later.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's call it out. This has been Auto Ring Magazine. Your boy DC Moore, Chris Thomas.
Yo
Make some
yo.
noise. Kenya Johnson. Make some noise. All right. We are out.
All right.
Thank you.
Next time.
All right. All right. See you. Bye.